Part 1. I never thought I'd be here, sitting alone in our kitchen while my world unravels, but here I am. Growing up, I watched my parents move through life like two halves of a perfectly synced dance. Their marriage felt carved in stone, unbreakable, steadfast, and safe. I carried that image into college when I met Laura. She was the life of every party. I was the quiet kid with the books. Somehow, our differences clicked, and before we knew it, we were planning a future together, dreaming of weddings, babies, the whole 9 yards. We married right after graduation, hearts full of hope. Laura kept her maiden name, and I thought it was a bold statement I admired, a sign she wouldn't lose herself in becoming someone's wife. Our world soon revolved around Beth and Janie, our two bright-eyed girls who made every morning feel like Christmas. We built a cozy life, a house with creaky floors, Sunday pancakes, bedtime stories. I believed we had it all. Then came the text messages. It was a Tuesday, I remember, and the glow of her phone caught my eye. One message from Scott. Can't wait to see you, opened a door I never saw coming. Laura confessed everything that night. She'd been sleeping with him for months. My stomach dropped so hard I thought I'd never stand again. I'm Jason Fairburn, by the way, and Laura Staples is my wife. After I discovered the affair, I sat in a lawyer's office so furious I could taste the bile. She laid out the truth. In Texas, the courts lean in mom's favor: custody, the house, the car, spousal support. If I pushed for divorce, I'd end up paying for Laura to live her new life while I became a part-time dad, living in a cramped apartment and seeing my girls for only a few nights each month. The idea of losing our home felt like losing my own skin. But there was a loophole everyone whispers about: cheaper to keep her. If I let her affair slide, I could keep our house, our money, and the routine I cherished. It felt like choosing between two nightmares, so I paused, swallowed my pride, and waited. Weeks later, I found a strange calm in pretending nothing had changed. One evening, beer in hand, I asked her at our kitchen table, "How do you expect us to stay married when you're sharing a bed with someone else?" She looked up, soft and steady. "I love you, Jason," she said. "What I have with Scott is just once a week, something you can't give me right now." My anger flared. "Fine," I snapped. "Enjoy your pity sessions. Just don't expect me to be your emotional support." I stormed out, landing in my makeshift office downstairs. That first night, I moved her things into the basement bedroom. When she came home, dressed like nothing had happened, she found her clothes stacked by the furnace. "Where did you put my stuff?" she shrieked. I stood in the hallway and shrugged. "You didn't want to be with me upstairs," I said. "Have fun down there." The house turned icy. I spent early mornings pounding pavement, 5 miles before sunrise, to clear my head. My body got stronger, but my heart stayed raw. Then impulse struck. I walked into an RV show with our girls. They squealed at bunk beds and fold-out sofas. I saw an escape route, a 37-foot trailer built for family adventures and a sturdy diesel truck to tow it. $80,000 later, I had a rolling fortress for me and my daughters. I told Laura it was for family bonding, camping trips she could join if she wanted. "Why buy this?" she asked Scott one night. "He's punishing me," she said. But I wasn't planning revenge. I just needed proof that I could give Beth and Janie the childhood they deserved, with or without her. We hit the road, and for one glorious week, it felt like before, just me and the girls, laughter echoing through pine forests. I reminded them, and myself, that our family's heart beats in our blood, not in the walls of our home. When we pulled back into the driveway, I half expected Laura to greet us with open arms. Instead, she lingered by the front door, pretending to ask about the trip. I watched my daughters tumble inside, their faces bright. For them, this was normal. For me, it was a lifeline. I don't know where Laura stands now, and I can't say whether our marriage will survive. But I learned that vows don't bind you if your partner walks away. The only thing I can control is the love I give my girls and the life I build for us, on 4 wheels or under our old roof. And honestly, I'm just getting started. Part 2. I kept pretending that divorce wasn't an option, at least not until our girls, Beth and Janie, were grown. In Texas, no-fault divorce laws mean infidelity doesn't tip the scales, and any split would almost certainly leave me empty-handed. Custody, the house, half my paycheck. So I stayed married, even after Laura's affair came to light. As soon as I learned about Scott, I went into full-on defense mode. I bought that travel trailer, our mobile sanctuary, and whisked the girls off to the woods every chance I got. Laura sneered, calling it my revenge, but I didn't care. I needed her to see that her choices had real fallout. Meanwhile, Laura carried on with Scott once or twice a week. She and I never spoke of it. Our home grew cold and silent. She stopped making love to me. Every night, I watched her slip out the door, bicycle helmet on her head, like she belonged somewhere else. I began to question myself. If she could keep a boyfriend with zero legal risk, why couldn't I have someone, too? I channeled that frustration into my own life. I rejoined the cycling club, started running at dawn, picked up the guitar again, and hiked with my daughters. Through a friend's setup, I met Diana, an orthodontist with easy laughter, blue eyes, and a 6-year-old daughter named Matilda. Our dinners were light and fun. Our camping weekends with the girls felt like a breath of fresh air. With Diana, I didn't feel like I was cheating. I was simply reclaiming small joys that Laura had abandoned. A year of this gave me new perspective, enough courage to confront Laura. One Friday evening, I poured her a glass of wine and settled in at the kitchen table. "Laura," I began, "are you still in love with Scott?" She stared at her glass, silent. I pressed on. "How long have you been seeing him? And how many before him?" Her shoulders tensed, but she wouldn't look me in the eye. "This marriage hasn't been real for years," I said. "Tonight, I'm done playing Mr. Nice Guy. I want you out." She gasped, disbelief written across her face. "I'm not moving," she said. I stood up, heart pounding. "Then we'll see whose resolve is stronger." I walked out, leaving her frozen in the doorway. That night, I opened our joint account online and transferred half our savings into an account only I could access. Every month, I funneled my paycheck there, leaving Laura to cover her share of the mortgage, utilities, groceries. Anything she wanted to keep doing with Scott, she'd have to pay for herself. A week later, I sat in the lawyer's office with Diana by my side while Laura was on a camping trip with the girls. Attorney Claire Barnett, with her sharp eyes and 20-plus years in family law, laid it out plainly. Mothers do tend to get custody, but you've built a case. Your active role with the kids, camping, school events, works in your favor. If you can show Laura choosing her boyfriend over her daughters, you'll stand a good chance. My blood ran cold. All those weekends Laura had to catch up with Scott, they'd look like neglect in court. Suddenly, I understood that this fight wouldn't just be about our marriage. It would be about who proved they loved our children more. That Saturday, after Beth and Janie were tucked into their bunk beds in the trailer, I poured wine for Laura and beer for myself. Another midnight talk. "Let's clarify our roles," I said, handing her a neatly typed list. "I cook, I clean, I drive the girls to soccer. You make your choices." She glanced at the list, lips pressed tight. "You can't do this," she whispered. But I could and I would. I wasn't backing down, not for her or for Scott. The adventure I'd started with the RV trips had given me more than escapes in the woods. It gave me a blueprint for standing up for my family and myself. Whether our marriage survives or dies in a courtroom, I'm ready to see it through, on my terms. Part 3. I flipped open my notebook and set it between us. "All right, Laura," I said, taking a steadying breath. "We need to talk money. Who pays for what, and how we split everything." I paused, watching her lift the wine glass with a wary look. "I'll keep covering the truck and trailer. You handle half of the household and the kids' expenses." Her eyes flickered to the page. I leaned in and sketched out a simple budget. Mortgage, utilities, groceries, school tuition, everything listed in neat columns. "This way, I'm not bankrolling your weekends with Scott," I added gently, but firmly. Laura's wine glass wobbled in her hand. By the time my pen hit the final line, it was past midnight. I rattled off deadlines and payment dates until the clock read 1 a.m. Finally, I shut the notebook. "That's it for tonight." I stood, leaving the papers spread out like a battlefield. In the bedroom, I stripped off my shirt and let the shower wash away my frustration. Somewhere between the steam and the silence, I rehearsed her likely response. When I emerged, she was in bed, arms tangled in the covers, mind clearly elsewhere. Early the next morning, over cereal, she muttered, "He wants a 50-50 split? He knows I don't make as much as he does." I shrugged. "Then get a better-paying job." No sympathy. I sipped my coffee and watched her tension ease into resignation. A week later, Claire Barnett, my family law attorney, met with Laura in her office. I stayed out of sight, let them hash it out without me hovering. From a hallway window, I saw Laura pacing while Claire took notes. I knew Laura was scrambling, realizing that our agreement wasn't just financial, it was a prelude to separation, a way for me to prove we'd been living like roommates and build my custody case. Meanwhile, on my end, I've been talking to Diana about what all this meant for my future. Over brunch one Saturday, I told her, I'm done tiptoeing around. I need to file. She reached across the table and gave my hand a squeeze. That Wednesday at 6 p.m., I parked by Scott's car and waited. When he jogged up, phone in hand, he cursed under his breath. Hey, I said, grab a pint. Let's clear the air. At the pub, I ordered our usual IPA for me, lager for him, and settled into the corner booth. We need to be straight with each other, I began. How long has this been going on? He shifted, eyes darting to the door. 3 years-ish. 3 years, I repeated, nodding. Wire. He shrugged. She wanted something new. Feelings. I asked, is there more to this than just fun? His shoulders fell. I like the freedom. No pressure. I leaned back, letting it sink in. Scott wasn't the villain. He was the collateral in my collapsing marriage. I slid him $40 to cover the beers. Look, I'm not here to start a fight. Just remember, everyone pays a price in the end. Later that night, I went home, pulled the divorce papers from my jacket pocket, and left them on Laura's pillow. I didn't say a word. The next morning at breakfast, she glanced at the envelope, pale as the milk in her bowl. What is this? Your notice. I watched her stare at the judge's seal, the reality settling like concrete. Tension rippled through our house. My attorney Claire called me from her office. Be ready. She'll push back. I booked our first court date and arranged for mediation. On the campsite, the girls thought everything was normal. They bounced around the trailer's bunk beds, oblivious to the storm brewing back home. I treasured those moments, laughing on campfires, teaching them to skip stones, but I knew our family would never look the same. Back in town, Laura and I sat across a mediator's table. She clutched her purse like a lifeline. I don't want this, she whispered. We can work it out. I tried, I said softly, but you chose him over us. Her eyes filled, and for a second, I saw the woman I'd married, the one who'd made me laugh at midnight, the one who'd promised forever. But that promise had cracked. The mediator cleared his throat. Let's talk custody. I took a deep breath. I want primary custody. I have evidence. School nights, doctor's appointments, camping trips, proof I've been the one putting the kids first. Laura pressed her lips tight, as if trying to swallow the truth. You take them. I'm already their dad, I said. I just want to make sure they have stability. We hashed it out, visitation schedules, holidays, split expenses, until the sun dipped low in the sky. When we finally stood, the air felt lighter, somehow. The battle lines were drawn, but the compliance was real. We weren't a happy couple again, but we were a team for our daughters. That night, as I tucked Beth and Janie into their bunks, I told them, I love you both more than anything. Things will change, but I promise I'll always be here. Alone in the empty glow of the trailer's kitchen light, I poured a glass of whiskey. The marriage I believed in was gone, but in its place I'd built something truer, a chance to be the father they needed. And maybe, someday, I'd find love again, one small step at a time. Part 4. I closed my laptop, leaned back in my chair, and looked over at Laura. Remember how the court evaluates custody? I asked, tapping my highlighted notes. If you're counting on walking away with Beth and Janie, you're in for a surprise. And staying married to me? That's no longer on the table. Her glass of wine quivered as she set it down. You can't just abandon me, and the kids, she protested, voice catching. I folded my arms. We've been over this. In Texas, divorce doesn't need your permission. I've already decided. I'm keeping the girls. Our marriage is over. She clenched the tablecloth. This is all about Scott, isn't it? You're jealous. I exhaled slowly. It's not jealousy, it's accountability. You made choices, and now you live with the fallout. No magic fix, only damage control. I closed the notebook with a definitive snap. You'll need to move out before the decree is final. If we agree, the judge can sign off after 60 days. If not, prepare for 90 to 120 days of back and forth. Laura stared at the spot where my pen had fallen. Can't we try marriage counseling? Maybe salvage this? I shook my head. You can try, but it must start and end inside that 60-day cooling-off window. Do you actually believe a therapist will make you love me again? She bit her lip, tears welling, but no answer came. I stood. I'll schedule that meeting with my lawyer, Claire, this week. In the meantime, go home, be with Beth and Janie, and try talking to me like you used to. Laura rose, pale and unsteady, and slipped out the door. My assistant Jackie poked her head in. Rough talk? I handed her the file. Get Claire's earliest opening. My phone stayed ominously quiet all afternoon. That night, I walked into the kitchen to find Laura hovering by the stove, watching me flinch at the dinner timer. I'd made her favorite, meatloaf, mashed potatoes, peas, hoping a touch of normalcy might thaw the frost. Beth and Janie jabbered about school projects, oblivious to the electric tension. Laura set the table in silence and took her seat, but her eyes never met mine. After bedtime, I ducked into the home office to sort the bills. Laura followed me in, shoulders slumped. Jason, can we talk? I didn't look up. It's late. Her voice cracked. I don't want a divorce. I want our family back. I set down the ledger. It's late for that, isn't it? My tone was flat. Tears glinted on her cheeks. How can I prove I love you? I ran my hand through my hair. Words don't cut it anymore. You chose Scott over me and over our daughters. I rose. Counseling is your call. Go if you must. Just don't count on me. She whispered, the girls will get hurt if we split. I crossed my arms. They were already hurt when you chose another man. I turned away. I hopped in the shower, scrubbing the day's anger off my skin. Steam curled around me as Laura knocked and peeked in. Jason, please. Showering? Laura. If you need something, say it. Her voice trembled. I need you. I grasped the curtain. I needed you too, but you walked away. Now you face the fallout. She backed off, and I finished my shower in grim silence. An hour later, I checked the driveway. Her car was gone. My phone buzzed. 3 texts from her. Please. I'm sorry. Call me. My stomach churned. The doorbell rang. I opened it to a woman in a sharp blazer, ID badge glinting. Emily. Sorry. Laura Staples? I nodded, heart pounding. Service of process. She pressed a thick envelope into my hand, divorce papers, and snapped a photo of me holding it before stepping back and leaving. I closed the door, hand shaking, and placed the envelope on the island. This is real. My pulse thundered as I stared at the judge's seal. Next morning, a voicemail from Claire. Laura's attorney wants to meet. My chest tightened at the thought of custody and property talks. In the chaos, Beth and Janie tumbled down the stairs, still half asleep. Lily murmured, Dad, can we go camping? Janie echoed, please. I ruffled her hair. Absolutely. I'll get the trailer ready. Later, Susan, Laura's mother, showed up at the door, worry etched on her face. She sat me down and listened as I recounted the affair, the RV trips, the legal prep. Her eyes red, she apologized for her daughter's choices. I nodded absently, my mind on the court date. 3 days later, I pulled into Scott's complex and saw him buckling Owen, his daughter, into a car seat. He froze when he saw me. Not here to fight, I said. I just need you to send her home. Beth and Janie miss her. His jaw clenched, but he finally nodded. Tell her it's on her. I walked back to my truck, exhaling. This is on Laura now. That evening, I was upstairs sorting mail when I heard the front door click. Back for more. I called from the hall. Silence. I peeked around the corner. Laura stood just inside, coat in hand. I dropped the pile of envelopes onto the console. Your car's in the shop, I heard. She offered a shaky smile. I missed home. Thought I'd try coming back. I kept my tone neutral. Your mom wants to talk tonight after dinner. Beth and Janie would like to see you, too, if you're up for it. Laura nodded, lips pressed tight, and slipped down the hallway. I exhaled, feeling the last threads of our old life unwind. Tomorrow, the real work began, custody, mediation, splitting assets. But tonight, I'd hold on to the quiet moment, grateful for my daughter's laughter echoing through the empty rooms we once called home. Part 5. I woke to the sound of soft footsteps in the hallway. Sliding out of bed, I paused at the door to our daughter's room. Lily and Janie were still asleep, clutching their stuffed animals, oblivious to the storm brewing downstairs. I crept back to my office, heart pounding, and found the divorce papers still spread across my desk. A knot tightened in my chest. Today Claire would meet with Laura's attorney to hammer out our separation terms. I grabbed a fresh cup of coffee and settled behind my laptop, scanning my notes, custody schedule, spousal support, division of assets. Every detail had to be airtight. A knock on the doorframe pulled me out of my thoughts. Diana stood there quietly, her eyes soft but determined. Hey, she said. I thought you could use breakfast company. I managed a weary smile. You're a lifesaver. She handed me a plate of scrambled eggs and sliced avocado, my favorite. We ate in companionable silence until the girls tumbled down. Diana scooped Janie into her lap. Lily hugged me. The little moment of normalcy was all I needed to steel myself. By mid-morning, Claire called to say the mediation session was set for 2 p.m. at the family court annex. I confirmed my attendance and hung up. My phone buzzed next. Laura. 3 texts. I'm sorry. I missed them. Please don't shut me out. I stared at the screen and deleted them. No response. Diana squeezed my hand. You're doing the right thing, she said firmly. Her calm resolve gave me courage. I needed to stay focused on what was best for our girls. At 1:30 p.m., I dropped Lily and Janie off at Claire's office 4 blocks from the courthouse. Claire greeted them with stickers and a promise of a coloring book. I knelt, kissed their foreheads, and whispered, I'll see you in a few hours, champs. They waved as I walked out, my heart hammering in my ears. Inside the annex, Laura sat across from me at a long wood table. Her hair was pulled back, cheeks flushed. Beside her, her attorney, Mr. Benton, arranged folders. Claire and I took our seats at the other end. The mediator, a no-nonsense woman named Ms. Kim, opened her notebook. Let's begin with custody. Laura's lawyer spoke first. My client wishes to maintain equal parenting time. He slid over a proposed schedule, alternating weeks. We'd like to start there. Claire cleared her throat. Given Mr. Fairburn's documented involvement, daily school drop-offs, extracurriculars, doctor's appointments, I propose primary custody with liberal visitation for Ms. Staples. Specifically, Wednesdays after school to Thursday morning, alternating long weekends, and summer split evenly. Laura's face paled. She opened her mouth, then closed it. The mediator jotted notes, then turned to Laura. Is that acceptable? Her voice trembled, but she shook her head. No, I want our girls half the time. We went back and forth for 2 hours. Holidays, birthdays, vacations. At one point, Laura's eyes watered. She cleared her throat and offered a compromise. 1 week on, 1 week off. I shook my head. Our girls needed consistency, and truth be told, I'd rather see them deeply loved every other week than dragged through uncertainty. At last, Miss Kim sighed. Here's the tentative order. Mr. Fairburn gets primary custody. Miss Staples gets visitation Fridays after school to Sunday evening plus half of summer break. She passed the draft across the table. Laura's lips trembled as she scanned it. I felt a pang. This was hard for her, but necessary for our daughters. Reluctantly, she initialed. I did the same. Claire and Mr. Benton signed off, and the mediator stamped the pages. We were done. By 5 p.m., I was back in my truck, racing to pick up the girls. When Lily tumbled in, she exclaimed, Daddy, guess what? I have ballet next week. Janie squealed, and I have soccer camp. Their excitement was a balm to my bruised heart. At home, Diana waited on the porch with the girls' soccer nets and ballet bag. Someone told me there'd be a celebration, she teased, handing Lily her ballet shoes. Janie flung herself at Diana, who swept her into a hug. I watched them and felt a fierce protection blossom inside me. Later, after dinner, I found Laura in the living room, curled on the couch with a blanket. She looked up as I entered. I got the paperwork, she said softly. Her voice was small. I nodded. It's final. Even saying it felt strange, like closing a chapter one had once believed would run my whole life. She took a shaky breath. I'm sorry, Jason. I truly am. I paused at the doorway, torn between anger and residual care. I hope you find your way, Laura. For the girl's sake, I hope you do better. She managed a small nod. Then, almost imperceptibly, she rose and walked away. I closed the door behind her, feeling the weight lift and fall all at once. I sank onto the couch, exhausted, and Diana joined me, draping her arm around my shoulders. I rested my head on her, grateful for her steadiness. In that quiet moment, with my daughter's laughter drifting from upstairs and Diana's warmth beside me, I realized that endings pave the way for new beginnings. My chapter with Laura had closed, but the story I was writing now, with my girls and with Diana, was just beginning. The end.